Welcome to See You at the Table, where stories meet grace. Here we gather, not just to speak, but to listen. If you want to witness how God brings people together from all around the world through powerful testimonies, tune in and see you at the table. Here's today's host. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a super cool guest joining us. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mark Phillips, and we are missionaries in West Africa. We've been there 20 years. CU alum, class of 2001. Actually, 2002, technically. 2001, I walked the line, but I had one credit I didn't get, and so.
Oh, man.
What was the one credit?
It's like a piano performance evaluation thing.
Oh, really?
Pushing off, and so. But I got it.
Well, how did you find yourself at CU back in the day?
Yeah, so I actually was planning to go to a different school, and just the last minute came up on campus, checked it out. I wanted to go. My father was a minister of music at our church, and I wanted to do something with music. So kind of to appease him, we came up here, walked around campus, and just instantly knew this is where I want to be. Started in the music department, ended up in the Christian studies department, but yeah, love this place.
Cool. I can kind of relate. I started out music ed and then ended up worship arts.
There you go.
Still in the music department, but I'm in the theology building a little bit more now.
Is there anybody that starts and finishes like what they came to start?
I don't know.
I've never met anybody, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know a lot of people that change their majors just in general, but a lot at Campbellsville because we kind of have that tagline, like, find your calling.
You're here trying to figure it out as you go.
Yeah, so people come here and then...
Right, in your junior year.
Oh, yeah.
Before it's too late.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I changed my major end of junior year, so it's kind of crazy.
Yep.
So what did you end up getting your degree in?
So Christian studies was my degree, and I did a minor in music.
Oh, cool.
So I did get a minor there.
Cool. I wonder if we had any of the same, like, music professors. If anybody... Did you have Dr. Gaddis?
Oh, yeah. Dr. Gaddis.
I think he was retired by the time I got here, but I know the name.
Both Moores. I had...
Yes, Dr. Moore. Yeah.
He taught me how to play guitar. Dr. Moore.
Oh, really?
Started on classical guitar. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, no way. Dr. Moore, I think he actually has moved away now, but he would still come around Gosser, and he had all these plants in the building.
Right.
And he would water the plants.
Doctor.
So if he was going to be out of town, we would always get like a message or an email that would
Water his
say,
plants.
"Could somebody take care of Dr. Moore's plants
awesome.
this week?"
There you go.
So
I always ask my dad to water our plants when we're gone. And twice he's watered a fake plant in our house. Like we'll come home and it's like full of water. And the other plants actually die. It's funny. The ones that are supposed to water. Anyway, sorry, it's a whole other side story.
That's funny.
That's pretty great.
Fake plants.
Well, so today we had you in chapel, and I
Right.
think you had a really good message. Our chapel theme this year has been living out the mission, and like you mentioned, you're a missionary in Africa, correct? So how did God lead you to Africa?
Yeah, we, I think as I shared in chapel, it was kind of shocking. We didn't think that was in our future. We were at a local church, loved it, thought we'd be there forever, and just a slow process, seeing the needs. We always assumed we weren't called. We thought that was like some supernatural event, but we just started asking. We flipped it, and we said, let's just assume we are called until God closes that door completely. We had been in southern Africa. We'd never been in West Africa. All we knew was if we're going to go, we want to go where the gospel's not gone. So wherever there's a need and wherever there's an opportunity. And so that led us to West Africa. And so we got there in 2006 with no kids. Now we have 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
Just finished in our 20th year of being missionaries there.
Wow, that's so cool. So I like what you said just now about instead of like feeling like God has to find you and tell you that you're called, just assume that you're called. How did you, I guess, make that decision to move? Like you're working at this local church.
Yeah.
Did you hear God's voice? Were there signs popping up?
Yeah, that
Did
would've
you
been
just...
No, we got this really simple, but it was helpful advice from one of our professors. I was at Southern Seminary at the time. And he said, just take one step. And that's what we did. Like, we wanted to have 10 steps, 20 steps planned out. And he's like, no, just take one step. And if that door stays open, just keep walking until it closes. And so that was helpful to know that we didn't have to say, okay, where are we going to be in 15 years and 20 years down the road? Like, what are we going to do tomorrow and the next day? And so long as the Lord continues to affirm that step and open those doors, keep walking through them. So, yeah.
For sure. So you kind of took a baby step and then ended up living in
Interview
Africa the past 20 years.
Application online, and then met with somebody, and then just
Wow.
one step, and then there we are in the village of West Africa.
That's so cool. How have you seen some of God's work and faithfulness through that?
Oh boy.
Oh man,
That's a big
yeah,
question.
that's a quick podcast. I mean, we'll just summing it up: the power of the word, the power of the gospel. Like, can't point to strategies or techniques or cleverness on our part. Just watching the power of the word transform lives, like people that had never heard the gospel,
Yeah.
never met a Christian.
Mm.
To see what happens when someone like that, when the Lord gives them faith to believe, they become a Christian. Those groups of individual Christians come together. Just amazing to see. We have story after story of just, I'm going to have time for a quick story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where we saw this, just kind of to summarize 20 years here. In the village we lived in, the threat that they would make to people that were kind of interested, talking to us, listening to the gospel, they'd say, if you die, nobody's going to bury you. Like, that doesn't seem like a big threat to us, but that's a big threat in an Islamic culture. You got to get in the ground quick, and so the thought of rotting on the ground is just unthinkable. And so they would say that, and it was a legit threat. Like, if you follow this guy, if you abandon your father's faith, then when you die, nobody's going to bury you.
Wow.
And so we had a couple people who had confessed Christ. One of them, Ibrahim, and his wife Hure. They were the only couple, and it was great. They endured all that persecution, and then Hure died.
Oh wow.
And it was like these leaders in the village had a sermon illustration. They finally had like something to point to. They're like, see, like this is what happens. Like, don't you see? And they come to Ibrahim, and like, she's still in the house, body's cold. They're talking to Ibrahim. They're taunting him. They're like, don't you see what you've done? Your foolishness has cost you your wife her life. Nobody's here to bury you. Look around you. It's just you. Like, this is what we told you would happen. They're like, if you will come back, we'll help you bury this dog of a wife of yours. But
Wow.
if you don't, you're on your own. And like, Ibrahim's this sustenance farmer, illiterate, pretty new in his faith, and he looks right at these religious leaders who represent really all the power in that village. Yeah. And he says, if I have to bury her by myself, I will. Like, I'm following Christ now. I'm not turning back. And it was just this incredible moment to see the genuineness of his faith. But even more incredible, and why I'm telling this story is, one by one, seeing that boldness. There were some other guys in that crowd who had confessed Christ, but had kind of kept it hidden because they were afraid of moments like this. When they saw his boldness, one by one, they stepped out. And this group of about 6 men took her body and went and buried it. And it was this picture that these men had lost one community, for sure. That was obvious. Like, they had been kicked out and rejected, but they found a new one.
Yeah.
And this one was better, and this one was going to last forever.
Wow.
And so, stories like that for 20 years. That's what we've seen.
That's so cool. How do you approach the gospel? I think you explained today, what was it called, like the 40-20
40 window?
40 window.
The 10-40 window of people that have never heard of anything to do with Jesus Christ. Like, I feel like it's different in America. Like, everybody kind of knows that name. They might not necessarily know what the gospel is, but like, I live in the Bible Belt, so everybody down here has probably been to church at least once, whatever. So how do you approach like the gospel to somebody that's never heard the name of Jesus?
Right. Yeah, you don't make any assumptions about definitions. And I would probably even hear anymore. I wouldn't want to assume too much. Yeah. So, I mean, I can walk up to a Muslim man and say, God loves you. Jesus died for your sins. If you believe in that, you'll go to heaven. Those are all accurate things, true things, parts of the gospel. But all those words mean different things to him. God, okay, he's picturing a different God than I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Jesus, different Jesus than I'm talking about. Sin, different concept of sin. Heaven, like all those words that I'm just throwing out. And so you just have to find ways to not just use these words, but to explain them. We talk about the 5 questions we want to answer in our gospel presentation. Who is God? Who is man? Who is Christ? What must I do to be saved? And what hope is there for those who believe? And that's how we train people. That's how we share. So we're talking about the difference between our God and the God of Islam. We're talking about the difference between what sin is for a Christian versus maybe sin elsewhere. So, yeah, you just got to answer those questions because each religion, each person has answers to those questions. Person here on the street, they have a concept of who God is, of who man is. And so, yeah, just a slow walking through those 5 elements of the gospel.
Yeah. Have you ever, is one way you've been helping to spread the gospel there is just by living out your life in faith and people seeing like there's something different about you and them coming to you? Has that kind of been one way you've spread the gospel? Because I feel like that's something we've talked about before is that can be a way to
Yeah.
help convert people to Christ, is they see you living your life
Right.
differently than the world or than how they're living, and
Yeah.
they want to know what's up.
So yeah, in the middle of Niger, we stick out for a lot of reasons. And so there's always and kind of built-in oddity. And so that gives us people who are watching us, they're seeing, oh, the way I treat my wife is different. The way we raise our kids is different. The way I speak, don't get angry. Like, there are differences, but the real testimony, the real power comes when a Fulani man comes to Christ, someone that's from their culture, and now he's living differently. When a Songhai man, when a Zarma man, when a Hausa man, when these people that they know, like I know Boubacar, I know Abdullah, I know what he used to be like, and now he's different. Like, that is where there's just such a huge testimony. They expect me to be different. I am different. But when they see, we know him, we know his parents, he grew up in this village, like, he's different. He doesn't yell at his wife now. Like, he's actually helping serve his kids. Like, something's different here.
Yeah, that's really cool. You have any questions?
Well, I've had the privilege of knowing you guys for a while, but one of my favorite things you talked about today actually was when you gave the illustration about the Coke sign.
Yeah.
And so
I've been thinking about that ever since you said that. That's
everywhere
on my mind.
I mean, you'd be in the middle of nowhere, like, Coca? Like, everybody knows Coca-Cola.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
So what do you think? Because that would be that is frustrating to me too. The idea that Coke beats us to
Every
places
time.
in the world with the gospel. But why? You encourage really with motivations today that are powerful. That the gospel saves. That God is worthy of it all. His plan's it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what is our hang up? Like, when you look at it, even for like college students that might be listening or that we share this with, like, what's the hiccup that you see, or some of the hiccups that?
Yeah, man, there's probably a lot, but I think you got to say it. I mean, it's kind of the hardest way to say it, probably. We'll make sacrifices for the things we love, the things we value. Going to the gym's hard. You got to get up, got to pay some money, but you do it because you value that. Like, everything that we do that comes with a cost, we'll only do it if we value that. And so I think you have to look at the situation of the world today and just say, man, there just aren't enough Christians who seem to value and treasure the nations coming to know Christ. Like, that there are 3.2 billion. Like, once I get past football stadium, I can't imagine numbers. They get beyond imaginable. I explained to my kids the other night, I was like, okay, let's do the math here. If you were to count to 3.2 billion,
how long would it
one
take?
per second, like, how long would it take? My kids are like, 6 months, 8 months. It would take 101 years.
No way, really.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't
Insane.
a math ed major, but that's what we did. And so, I mean, you would spend your whole life and you couldn't even get to that number. And that's how many people right now have no access to the gospel. And so it's to get the gospel to them is costly. Like, there's lots of reasons that people are unreached. They're in hard places. They're in difficult places. They're in places where there's religious and governmental oppression. And so it's hard. And it will necessarily involve cost and suffering. But we just need a generation that treasures Christ that much.
Hey, if Coca-Cola can do it,
Yeah.
that'd actually be like a great collab or something between missionaries and Coca-Cola. Like, if you sponsor us, we'll go hand out some Coca-Colas in these villages, but we're going to spread the gospel while we do it.
Yeah.
It is cool. I mean, I just think your message today just reminds us, though, that it is God that does what he does, And I remember one of my favorite stories when we got to bring a group with you guys. We were in some village, and Cephas, I think, was the guy who was with us this time, but he was just sat down kind of like a half shed, about the size of this room, really, and people started talking, and there were just a few, and I remember in my head being, because, we have the language barrier, too. We're like, at some point when you're doing missions and stuff, you're like, oh, what good am I really?
Yeah.
What in the world? Am I helping at all? But slowly, that group of 5 or 6 turned into like 10, 12, 15, and eventually, I swear there was probably like 50 or 60 people that were just huddled around and actually listening and engaged. And I remember looking up, and there was this one little kid across the way. It had a shirt that said "God at Work," and I remember that just being almost like something that I feel like the Lord was giving me, and that, like, I only knew that in my head where I was struggling, but it was just this reminder of I am at work, and a lot of what God's doing is underneath the surface that we don't see as well, and it just takes so much trust in His character and who He is and in His goodness that He is doing those things. And I love that, and I think so many of your guys' stories are testimonies of how God is really at work.
And God's plan is so much bigger than we can imagine. Like,
Yeah.
you might not be the one that goes to the 1040 window.
Mm.
It might be the grandchild of somebody you had as a second grade Sunday school class. Like, there's going to be people we'll never meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to hear the gospel and believe that gospel because they hear it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from you. Like, we're not going to see those things in this life, but that's one of the hopes of glory, is just to see how God sovereignly just moved all of that.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of students. Actually, right after your message today, there was a student that was asking me, I don't know what to do in my life. Listen to this message. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go?
Yeah.
And actually, the question I asked them, I was like, well, we talked about a couple things. And I was like, well, have you asked God? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, just start there.
Maybe that's
And then let's connect. But what would you say was one of the biggest challenges for you going initially? And once you knew the call, and maybe even you're there doing language school or whatever it might be, what was one of your early challenges?
on the field or like getting
Yeah.
to the field.
Either or.
Yeah, getting to the field, one of our biggest unexpected challenges was family, who tried to talk us out of it. Spent about a year trying to talk us out of it. Christian parents, ministers,
Yeah.
led me to Christ. I'm like, you should be proud of me. And
My family would too, though.
Yeah.
They also wouldn't want me to go.
Yeah, we were saying at lunch, the Great Commission's wonderful in theory,
Yeah.
and then it gets personal. And so that was a big challenge, a really big hurdle. Parents who are begging you not to go. And then once we got there, just the struggles, like you said, learning language, being the only English speakers in a place, sleeping out, just those uncomfortable things. Those were all challenges. Like, I don't want to romanticize hard things, but it was just our desire to see the gospel go forward that got us through all of
You
that.
you got malaria, I think.
Yeah, we all get you get that. That
Yeah.
happens. But
You said that like it's just so.
well, I mean, it just is. It comes with
But
territory.
I think that long-term mindset that you're having, like so many of those things in our culture, you guys brought it up. We have a lunch with chapel speakers, and that's what I'm referring to. But our culture is so short-sighted and short-minded and commitment that way as well. So when difficulty or tension, it's easy to back out or go the other way. But you had so many reasons to leave or not to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what would you say for that person who's maybe experiencing that for the first time? I have a nephew who's on the field, and he's experienced so many in the first few months of stuff,
Yeah.
What would be your biggest encouragement to that person, whether you're on the field or on a college campus, to stick with it,
Yeah, and well, that's the encouragement is remember why you went. Like, you didn't go because it was going to be easy. You didn't go because it was going to be comfortable. You didn't go because the team was going to be great or language was going to be easy. You went originally for a reason, and just remembering why you went and why I've come. And again, even on campus, like, why am I here? What am I doing today? What did I pray about this morning that I'm hoping to accomplish today? And so no matter what distraction or discouragement comes, I'm going to keep pushing on through that.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. So you've been bringing up like Islam.
Yeah.
Is that the main religion of where you are at in Africa?
Yes.
I don't know why. For some reason I just didn't know that it was Islam. I don't know why.
People picture Africa like Lion King or jungles.
Yeah,
and
people think of it like that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
We always tell people, just imagine the Middle East, and that's where we live. Dirt, sand, hippos. I'm trying to think, we don't have like lions and tigers, those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Islam swept all through West Africa. There was a push to the coastal countries, and so like Nigeria, which is just one country below us, has a ton of Christians, millions of Christians. But then when you get one country into that Sahara and Sahel region, it's almost 100% Islamic and has been for centuries.
And there's a lot of history. Like a lot of people don't know history of the world in general. But like I remember you guys teaching us about the Songhai, or even like how that was an empire across. Like there's this depth of history with those different people groups. That how has that impacted how you have reached out, or part of your journey of having that knowledge and understanding those sort of things?
Yeah, well, I mean, you realize for these folks, to be Songhai, the people we worked with, to be Songhai is to be Muslim. With Islam, you don't go to Quranic vacation Bibles or vacation Quranic school, I guess, and give your life to Allah at the age of 6. You're born Muslim.
What you are.
It's what you are.
Yeah.
And so just to tell someone the gospel and to call them to repentance and to become a Christian, it's almost like they're looking at you. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't do that. And so just understanding, again, this has got to be God's work, giving them faith to believe this, because on their own, this will be impossible. But then, you just understand living in another culture. You learn from them. You see blind spots in your own culture. You're able to see things that they do better than you, and maybe some things that they don't do, maybe like we do. But all of those become bridges and opportunities then to share the gospel.
I love it. It's good stuff.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, have you been learning like new languages living there?
So yes, so
I was curious how many you've learned, or if it
just
was
two.
just one.
Yeah, just two. So Niger is a French-speaking country, so that's the official
Okay.
language. So just to like get by, you have to learn French.
Africa's so
Yeah.
interesting. It's like I'm learning so much right now.
So we had to learn French first, poorly, but we learned it just to kind of get around, and then we went right into the heart language, which was Zarma or Songhai, and that's what I speak. That's what I preach in. That's like what I communicate every
Wow.
day in. I
You
love
say a verse in Songhai? Like,
Zama irko gabain dunya kula halana inge izo folankano halborkul machmandi ama asi halechi. That's John 3:16.
that's a good one.
And you
That's
don't
so
even know if that's
cool.
right, but it is.
But I'm just
You could have said anything to us just now.
Just syllables, random syllables.
I think it's just an interesting topic in general because I would say in the top 5 of what people struggle with going somewhere is money, family, being uncomfortable, but learning another language. Like that's a big barrier for, especially America. Like people in the United States, like we are not strong in other languages.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
So
Yeah, we're gonna find that one person in this country that speaks English and force them.
how'd you see God show up for you guys in that learning a language?
Oh man, patience and grace.
Duolingo.
Yeah. So the thing with Zarma, the language we speak, it's an unwritten language, and so there's not like
Oh my
books or resources.
gosh.
Duolingo.
That's
So
so
all verbal?
difficult.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what's so cool
Wow.
about that is then the community must become your teachers. You're not like on your phone repeating this phrase or reading a book. Like if I want to learn this, I got to like go sit with people all day long. And so I would just take my notebook and plop down with Boubacar and Abdullah and like I point to something, they'd say it, and I'm writing something down.
Wow.
And so just little by little,
That's
but it's hard.
Literally, how'd you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I mean, we had a language tutor. He would
Wow.
come in and help us with different things, but primarily, and then you go out and use what you have. So I remember sitting with this group of men, these elders, and I'm like, "This is a pen. I pick up the pen, I put down the pen. That's all I can say." And I walk away, and like, "Whoa, like this guy's got stories." But you just have to laugh at yourself. You make lots of mistakes. You become a child. You just sound like a caveman talking. But by God's grace and hard work, I mean, that's the thing. I think people that are considering vocational missionary careers, like language learning is hard. There's no shortcuts. It's a tough thing. But man, the benefits of communicating in a heart language,
It's huge.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that becomes, obviously, that's a huge tool in spreading the gospel because now you speak their language, but it probably kind of stops them in their tracks to see someone
It's
who
gonna have a lot of
looks.
tickets with cops too. Yeah.
Oh, to see someone that looks so different from them and they're like, whoa, how
Yeah.
do you speak my language? How do you know that?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm kind of curious, like, you said it's not, so Zarma is not a written language.
Right.
So, and you just said that Bible verse in
Right.
that language. So, have you kind of like translated in your mind all of
No. No. So here's
Okay.
the cool thing with that. So faithful missionaries, so grateful for the missionaries that came before us. And so they did what I did, and they sat and listened to words, figured out a vocabulary, and then they put Roman characters to those sounds. And so we have a Zarma Bible.
Okay.
Now,
Okay, I was
most people
wondering.
can't read that, but
Yeah.
I could hand it to you. You could open it up, and you could just read it how it looks, and you'd be about 80% right. Like a Zarma speaker would be like, I understand what she's saying.
Oh, cool.
Because it was Roman letters written out to sound like the Zarma words.
Okay.
It's great, and anybody that's been to school and like learned French, they could take that Bible and kind of sound it out. Even native Zarma speakers struggle with that. What's cool now is they're taking that same model with Arabic letters. So being Islamic, a lot of
It's a little
kids
closer.
learn the Arabic alphabet, and so they're writing with Arabic characters, but it's sounding like Zarma.
Wow.
And so
That's pretty cool.
same principle. So yeah, so it's not a written language. You don't find books, but there is a Bible, and I'm so grateful that in the 70s, this family
Yeah.
devoted their life to translating the Bible.
I was wondering if you had a Bible in the language somehow or something.
What's your thoughts on AI translating Bibles? That's been a big conversation, right? Of using AI to create translations. Or?
Yeah, I have no interaction with them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're faithful. I know translations exploded in the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
There's a million. There's
yeah.
like 10 million different ways to read the Bible.
Well, we just, in America, with the English language, we're just spoiled with
Very
resources.
much.
So many translations and all these. And so, but we're just grateful for people that gave their lives to that so we could have those tools.
That's so cool. Well, we're kind of coming to the end of our podcast time a little bit. So I think Trent briefed you a little bit before we started the podcast on what we do at the end, but we always ask for like a table tip. So what's sort of maybe a spiritual discipline that you want to emphasize to the audience, or some sort of tip or trick you've learned living in the mission field? I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
He always says something to chew on.
To marinate on. You know?
Okay. Can I give you 2 tips? I'll be
Oh,
quick, I
yeah.
promise.
Okay.
One specifically for people who are considering being vocational missionaries. Like, that's a real thing. You know, this idea that everybody's a missionary, that's not helpful, because if everybody's a missionary, no one's a missionary. There is a vocational aspect, cross-cultural, gospel-centered work. So for those people that are thinking, I'm going to go live in another culture someday with the purpose of sharing the gospel, we talked about this at lunch, but it's just on my mind, to avoid the 747 principle. So Max Stiles came up with that. He was talking about short-term teams, but it works long-term as well. It's the idea that getting on a plane and crossing an ocean is going to drastically change who you are. So, you know, here, I'm not really sharing my faith. I'm not making disciples. I ignore the nations that are in my community. But I'm going to get on a plane and somehow become an evangelist and a disciple maker and a cross-cultural witness. It's like, no. Like, live here right now how you hope to live there. And so that when you do go there, there'll be a different language and a different culture, but it'll pretty much look the same. So, yeah, I think for people who are considering that, give yourselves now, right here in your context, to those things you hope to be doing over there. So that's a narrow group. I know probably not too many people that applies to. The second tip that came to mind would be more people who are trying to discern God's will. I know when I was a college student, I was all tore up. Who should I marry? What should I do? Where should I live? Like those big questions that you're like, if I mess this up, I'm going to spiral everything out of control. And what we've learned over the years, decision making and kind of discovering God's will, and what we teach even our team in Africa, is really the overlap of 3 things. You can kind of picture a Venn diagram. Biblically informed desires. And so, like, what are the things that out of God's word, it's informed by Scripture. These are good things. They're not sinful things. So biblically informed desires, that's one category. But where does that meet God ordained doors that are open? And so where has God opened opportunities that line up with those desires? So where those overlap is key. And then a third element that I think we neglect and really hampers our decision-making is church-affirmed direction. So we need other people speaking in. So like when I come to my small group or my pastors and I'm like, hey, I'm considering dating this girl. Like I need to listen if they go, no. Like you are not anywhere close to needing to do that. Or if I come to my pastors and say, hey, I'm considering going to the mission field. They shouldn't be surprised. Like if they're surprised, that's not a good thing. So you want people in your life, in your local church is the place for that to happen, who can speak into that, who can affirm and confirm what your desires are and that these opportunities are, which kind of leads to one last little quick tip. Be a meaningful member at a local church. Like campus ministries are awesome. Podcasts, awesome. Like sermons online, awesome. Conferences, awesome. Like don't want to discredit any of that, and the Lord uses all of that. But none of it can replace the local church. That is God's chosen instrument to be like his incubator for your faith, where you be tested and tried and to learn and to grow. And so be a meaningful member. So that was 3 tips, sorry.
That was great.
No, it was good. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
I think I don't know, that was a really good podcast. I've got a lot of cool information and learned a bunch of new things I'd never heard before. So thank you for coming on, and
thank you.
See you guys next time. This podcast is brought to you by Campus Ministry at Campbellsville University, where faith, testimony, and dialogue come together. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we'll see you at the table next time.